So here with me this morning to review the newspapers, I've had Mary McLeod, former policy advisor to the Queen, and the former Daily Telegraph royal photographer Ian Jones here with me this morning, and they're back again. The sun is up, but it's not much warmer, is it? It really
is definitely cold, but at least we haven't been standing for 12 hours.
Absolutely.
In a queue, so.
And I have 75 layers on personally, so I'm okay. But let's dive into the papers then, and you've picked up an article that focuses on the queues, Mary, haven't you? This is Inside the Mirror.
Yes, and it's been great. I mean, Ian and I have both been talking to people in the queue just now, and it's just so inspiring. They're all here because they want to be here. It's almost part of a pilgrimage and doing some sort of hardship before they get to that final. She's told that the Queen gave 70 years of service, surely they can give 12 hours in a queue. And just hearing their stories, and it's so diverse from all walks of life, all ages. So it's really, and it says here, sort of unifying sense of purpose as well. So yes, you have David Beckham, which was it was lovely to see him yesterday. But it's everyone. Yes, absolutely. And did it just humbly and quietly. And I think just everyone there has their own story to tell about why they're doing it. But it's all unifying. They're behind a purpose of saying we loved our Queen and we want to show our respect and say thank you to her.
And there's David Beckham in those pictures yesterday, as you say, joining the queue like everybody else. And he got quite emotional, didn't he?
Yeah.
And people in the queue at this stage, mostly they're pretty upbeat, but I think it can be quite an emotional moment when they do walk into that hall.
I think it will be because obviously with the news over the past few days and then having spent 12, 14, sometimes I think later this afternoon it'll be 16 hours in the queue, I think that it gives them a lot of time, I think, to prepare for it, but also to think and reflect on the 70 years of service that Her Majesty gave. So really getting in there, I think all that thought process comes to a head, and because it is sort of like losing a member of one's own family.
Well, yes, and a lot of the papers reflect on that.
Yeah.
They're also looking to the future as well, aren't they? And you picked out an article in the Daily Telegraph.
Yes, I did.
Which is on the people around King Charles.
It is, and it's the King's Inner Circle. You've got to remember, looking back, that as he was the Prince of Wales, he's had a fantastic team supporting him, guiding him, and leading him through up until this moment. And I think that team will go forward. So looking at these are the unsung, unnamed people. But just looking in the Telegraph here, we have the likes of the Earl of Roslin as Master of the Household, and Sir Clive Alderton. It's people I've worked with closely over the past few years, and I can think no better people to guide His Majesty or their Majesties going forward. It's now very well prepared. It's very well thought, and it's a process, I think, which has evolved over the last few years, and one which will take the monarchy with King Charles and Queen Camilla forward. They're a wonderful, strong team, and backed up by a phenomenally professional outfit.
And Mary, you've got direct experience of working in the Queen's household, so you know all about being in a royal household, and you advising on PR, but also modernisation, won't you? And what do you make of this kind of transition time? What would it be like for them?
Well, Ian's right in terms of they have all been around for some time now, and of course our new king has been Prince of Wales since certainly it was 1969, and before that. But so he's had this long apprenticeship, seeing the best example possible from what the Queen was doing, and over recent years has been doing more and more to support Her Majesty in her role as sovereign. So I think there'll be a very smooth transition. But just I think for all the members of the senior members of the royal family and the new Prince and Princess of Wales, what an incredible job they've done over recent years. Just focus on the things that really matter to them. And then any monarch needs a really good, strong team behind them just to help them make sure they deliver what they want to do.
And you talk about a new Prince of Wales. There's an article in The Guardian that you've picked out after this visit by King Charles yesterday, of course, and where he spoke Welsh, didn't he?
He did, and I think he surprised the audience there, because half of his speech was in Welsh. They were expecting, I think, some words of, but certainly not half of the speech to be in Welsh. And I think it went a long way and was very much appreciated. But now, as it says here in The Guardian on page 8, is that a champion of the Welsh urged Prince to learn the language. And I think he will. He spent time in Anglesey, spent time in Wales, Wales. He'll embrace being the Prince of Wales and following in his father's footsteps. You know, his father was the longest Prince of Wales in the 855-year history. So Prince William steps into that, and I think he'll want to engage with them, and part of that process will be learning Welsh, with his father's help, no doubt.
And let's dive into one of the other papers, The Express now, Mary, because obviously we're all building up to the big state funeral on Monday, an extraordinarily huge event this is going to be, with people coming from all around the world. So what's The Express's take on this?
Yes, and they talk about in the Ukraine First Lady Emolina Zelenska coming to the funeral, but there's state leaders are coming from all around the world. And what I just found really amazing was just the international reach that the Queen had. You know, she was head of the Commonwealth, 54 countries, that's 2.5 billion people, and she was monarch of 14 of them. So she literally, people are coming because of that respect they have. They felt she was their queen too, and therefore they really feel the need to be here. And even though we know there's really important things happening around the world, especially in the Ukraine, hence the president can't come, but it's just, you know, it just shows the love and the admiration and the respect around the globe.
I know it's going to be quite an event, and fascinating to see the seating plan as well, no doubt. Mary McLeod and Ian, thanks both very much indeed for your company this morning. We really appreciate it. So a hectic schedule for King Charles and a busy day again yesterday. Let's look back at what's been another memorable day.